it is obvious to everyone that there is going to be a general election. Um, the matter is, it's just not if now, but when. Um, and when, of course, is going to be the question. Jeremy Hunt came out and said, "Oh, it'll be the second part of the year." But as we're about to see, there's a lot of people in Labour saying it might be in May the 2nd. That's when we could have. And Labour so far are preparing still for a May election. And that is good because, as we have seen in the past, both in 2017 and 2019, that the Labour Party at that time, under Jeremy Corbyn, did not take any preparation. They weren't prepared for a potential one happening, and they were caught off guard. And that reflected massively in the campaign because they were on the back foot. You cannot be on a back foot of a general election of a campaign. You've got to be ready when to go, to have all your stuff ready. Budgets, manifesto, messaging. You've got to be ready to go and start running. If not, it's not going to be a very effective campaign. And you're going to be playing catch up sometimes. So we're going to go over this piece because I think it just goes to show you the seriousness at not only which Labour are preparing for a May election, but also making that transition. Because remember, if they win, they are going to go from opposition to a general election campaign to government. So immediately, as I have said many times on this channel before and other places, they have to deliver from day one. Like Labour's first 100 days in office is going to be really, really critical. So they have to be ready to hit the ground running on day one because they are going to be in government. You cannot waste any time in essentially trying to clean the mess up. And a lot of people that we've heard saying, when we get in there, when we actually, get there, we don't know what type of mess that we might find. And that is worrying a lot of people as well. Like, how long is it going to take to potentially clean up a lot of these Tory messes? So we'll see. But anyway, this is kind of encouraging. This is really kind of encouraging when you sort of see this, because you really do see and you get the sense that they are really prepared and are taking going to go into power and being in government very, very seriously, which, to be honest, is what we need. You had the Iceland, I think it was the Iceland boss, now switch from the Tories to Labour, and he's donating quite a considerable amount to Labour because, as he said, we need a sensible government, and that's why he's switched. He said, Starmer and Labour, they're the sensible government. If he said it, if I was running a business like the Tories were running a business, we wouldn't last long. So that's also some good news as well. But anyway, before we do go on into this as well, please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And of course, the YouTube thank you button. And of course, the Pony Club down below as well. You can also just click the like and share button as well. That does help out the channel as well. So on with this. This comes from The Guardian, but I just want to read, like I say, the last part of it, because it shows you how much they are taking this seriously. And I think it's well worth emphasizing how seriously they are taking this. So, meanwhile, this comes from the Guardian article. Hang on, just to save my place. So yeah, if we win, we'll have to be ready. Labour prepares for its first 100 days as Tories slide into chaos. And trust me, the chaos that we saw last week from all the stuff on the fallout of Simon Clarke, this almost organized attempt to get Rishi Sunak, is causing a lot of troubles and turmoils in the Tory party. So expect that to continue throughout this week as well, especially when so much of that stuff came from the Tory graph, something that they had thought would be a reasonable ally to, of Sunak and would help them out. But what's going on there? Even they don't know. So there's a lot of turmoil going on in the Tory party right now. And going into a potential general election, that's not going to be good for them. So, meanwhile, Labour's shadow ministers, MPs, officials, and party workers are being called in no uncertain terms now into line. While Tories face their own existential questions and struggle to hang together, Team Starmer is imposing a level of discipline and message control to rival that of the New Labour in the run-up to 1997. Starmer's head of campaigns, Morgan McSweeney, is telling everyone to plan for a general election on May the 2nd. He seemed to think that the Tories may still go early, but he is also a way to ensure that everyone is ready, which is true. Even if they do not go early, then you are prepared and you can be ready and you can still make tweaks and necessary changes along that way up until that potential date. If everything is ready to go, then you can fight a general election at a moment's notice. So this, as we said before, really smart move on this, a really smart move. Because remember, back in 2017, at the time leadership of the Labour Party thought, oh, a general election's not going to happen. May would never call a general election. But there you go. So, of course, the message is getting through. One senior official said, they said that we have to prepare for May because we have no other choice. And that means everything has to be ready to go from mid-March. The budget, money, candidates, manifesto. Team Starmer is also points to the other factors as evidence that May is now in play. For example, the Tories have chosen March the 4th as the date for the budget, and that they're talking of tax cuts as well as rising spending on online ads and the speeding up of Conservative candidate elections. So that is, again, also a very other telltale points here. The date of the budget being brought forward. It would normally be in April, I think, when the budget would be. That seems to be very, very key to that. They're also doing that because by that time, those tax cuts that they are constantly talking about would have sort of kicked in, hoping that they might be able to go during a general election. See, we did all these tax cuts. Bear in mind, tax cuts, very, very short term thinking for a short term boost. And that's their hope that, oh, we've done these tax cuts. See, the economy isn't that bad, guys. The reality, of course, would be far, far different. Of course, candidate selection speeding up as well. Online ads, I've seen them more and more appearing for pro-conservative things as well. So that is something very evident. There is still a lot of this evidence pointing that even if it's not, May the 2nd, as they might be, maybe it goes in June. We don't know. We're going to have to sit and wait. Again, another reason why a fixed term Parliament Act and getting that back in would probably be a good idea as well. So everything now is cranking into gear. With talks between the shadow ministers and, of course, civil servants in each government department will now begin until now and Easter in preparation for a potential transition. Members in the shadow cabinet have also been told to submit their plans for inclusion in the Labour election manifesto by the 8th of February so that they can be subject to intense stress testing and be thoroughly bomb-proofed. And again, that's what you need to do because you need to go, we are going to put out this policy, and it is going to be policy, it's going to be our manifesto, and we're going to make sure that it cannot be attacked. As I said, 2019, free broadband was hurriedly thrown in at the last minute. Could be a really good policy. Could have been a really good policy. And I said, might be a good one in the future. But now, no, you can't do this now or have this in another manifesto for a decade or more. You've got to have some serious campaigning, and it's still going to be treated as a bit of a joke for some time to come because of it was so poorly thrown into that manifesto, almost seemingly at the last minute. So doing this, stress testing them, bomb-proofing them, trying to make sure that when they are attacked, you've got comeback lines on them and making sure that you can use sort of lines from those to say, hey, we're going to do this and this is going to be a good idea. Everything here, Corbyn did not do. And I want to stress that. And people go, oh, but you attack Corbyn. Yeah, because in a lot of cases, he really does deserve it because he was not a good campaigner. He did not prepare the Labour Party properly. He was the leader. He was in charge. And yet, time and time again, he failed on so many areas. And I'm sorry that I have to keep on bringing it up, but you have to, because otherwise you won't learn a thing, you know? And yet I'm told by Momentum and other people, oh, we need to learn the lessons of what happened. They're not learning the lessons, or they're not learning the correct ones. But there you go. Anyway, the process at the moment is very multi-led. Among the officials at the heart of it are, of course, Rav Atley, the former Treasury official and economist who is now in charge of drawing up the manifesto and, of course, checking that the sums add up. Sue Gray, the former civil servant working with Starmer's chief of staff, and one of those roles in to tell everyone from a vast experience of government what is feasible and what is deliverable once in power. The Shadow Cabinet Office Minister, Jonathan Asquith, has been given the key role of assessing political tax of what the other parties might launch on each policy in a campaign and how to defend them. And as we said, recently, Ashworth told the Shadow Cabinet that otherwise the hugely successful 1997 campaign that Labour lost vital time because it found itself under new pressure over a forgotten pledge to privatise air traffic control. And that had been made at a party conference, and it was never developed afterwards. It is this kind of mistake that we now have to avoid, said the source. Again, very true. So now you've got someone here saying that we have to be careful that if we have said we are going to do this, that we have a plan in place and able to do this. Because look at 1997, we said that we were going to privatize air traffic control. That was something that Tony Blair got attacked on in 1997. But luckily, you know, they managed to sort of sort it out in time. So it is very, very obvious that when you're fighting these campaigns, you have to take everything into account. You cannot leave anything to chance. You have to plan, prepare, and even when you are in the campaign, you also have to be able to maneuver and pivot as well. You have to be agile. So let's continue on this. So the Labour leader, the shadow leader of the House, Lucy Powell, is also chairing a special committee looking at what legislation can be included in a King's speech that will have to be delivered within a few weeks of any Labour victory. So again, something else to think about, because if you do win, you've got to have a King's speech ready to go. So that's also showing how serious they are taking this as well. Her counterpart in the Lords, Angela Smith, the Shadow Attorney General, Emily Thornberry, and Gray are also on this legislation committee, as well as the Chief of the Whips, Commons, and Lords. Another source said that if we win, we have to have bills ready to go within a few weeks of coming in. There will be literally no time to waste. We will have to hit the ground running. Lucy is going around saying we cannot leave it until after the election and say, oh no, we haven't got anything. So they are being prepared. They are now getting, as was said there, bills ready to go immediately as soon as they are in power. Bam, 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 bam. That is good. That is just shows how serious they are taking this. So before Christmas, the party moved into a new open plan headquarters in Southwark. The insiders say that they have noticed the formation of a top table group who meet regularly and operate on a hot desk basis. They include the likes of Arthur Gray and the Shadow Chancellor and the Duchy of Lancaster, Pat McFadden, McSweeney and McShaw's deputy, Marina McFadden, Kate Martin, and the Chief Shadow Staff, Chief Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves is also involved. Again, that's fine. Again, they are taking it seriously. That is good. Some, of course, senior positions in the Labour Party are also concerned. The operation is now too controlled, meaning that other people are afraid to speak with confidence about ideas, while others say that there is a lack of political thinking about what is going on with Labour's story and will be if and when it wins. What are we going to be? Uh, uh, we are going to be an unpopular government. There are going to be lots of quote day one work going on and legislation that we've got to get going. But who is course of doing that political work? Who is out there thinking about what the message will be and what we are going to be when we're there? What are we there for? I don't see that work going on. So again, thinking once again about what do we do when we're in power, what that messaging is going to be. Again, so important. In answer to those who claim that they are again too cautious and controlling, Team Starmer says that they are in a word where trust in politics and politicians has been eroded. Labour has to reassure to be credible rather than talk and promise too big. We'll have to tell the story that the Tories have destroyed the country, but our offer has to be to have a reassurance that we will deliver at its heart. The hope that we offer has to be based on reassurance, said one key aide. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's a good story to tell. That is very true. Discipline is also regularly coupled with the cautionary tales from the Labour pollster Deborah Mendelsohn and an electoral momentum mountain that the party now has to climb, saying that we know that we need a 12.7% swing. And in 1997, we got a 10.6% swing. So we need at least a 20% bigger swing than in 97. And no one is getting overexcited. This is not electorally straightforward, said another senior party figure. So again, they are getting ready. They are ready, but they are also not taking this for granted. They know that they are going to go into a fight and they are ready and they are prepared for one. And that just shows you the seriousness of what is going on and that they are ready. Should one happen, they are ready to go and they are ready to fight for one. So, again, could we get this May 2nd date for a general election? Who knows? Will the Tories drag this out? I do suspect they will. I highly suspect they will, but of course, they will not want to go into November because that's when the American elections will be taking place. And they do not want to run a simultaneous campaign with that going on at the same time as well. So November is out as a potential any date. So just ignore November as a potential date. But honestly, sometime during the spring and summer, very likely. And I think it's going to be probably happen maybe around then. May, if they do go for it, at least as we have seen, we are prepared. So, hey, let's get ready. And, it's been a long time coming, feels like it. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.